Jeff Johnson is a community health worker and pregnancy resource navigator serving Southwest Oklahoma with the District 5 County Health Departments. Before moving to public health, Jeff spent nearly a decade in global training and program development. Over the past 4 years, Jeff's production company, Bailout Productions, he has explored AI and streamlining workflows, enhancing communication, and expanding opportunities for learning. Everybody, this is Jeff Johnson.
Hey, thank you very much. You know, we do these things, my boss asked me if I would do this, and actually I volunteered before she asked me. I volunteered and she said, yeah, do it. So you do these things and you never know if somebody's gonna come in, so thank you very much for showing up. Well, my first introduction to AI started in a previous life, in a career-wise. People travel, we've flown in the last 10 years. You went to a machine where you have to do this, right? You're welcome, that's me. I started that project from the very beginning and we worked that all the way to sell a TSA. And one of the biggest problems that we had was privacy. Because when you stand there, especially in the early versions of those machines, we saw everything. And when you want to sell that to the public, they don't like that. And our software engineers, I had one of the best teams of softies that you can imagine. Those software engineers, they would work, as long as I kept them fed with Mountain Dew and chocolate, they would work 23 hours a day. They were fantastic. But they couldn't get the computers, the algorithms, which is basically just a recipe. They couldn't get the computers to be as good as what humans should look like in the machine as humans. So we couldn't get that, we couldn't make that jump from me seeing you in the machine versus me not seeing you. And then AI showed up. It was an early version. You couldn't talk to it yet. It didn't have a name. It was just a new kind of what we call machine learning. So we're going to get into some of these glossary terms later. But once we got that little piece of AI, that opened up the world. Because now, we didn't have to train the machine could train itself. And that was my first introduction to AI. That was probably back in 2010. And as a community health worker, I only spend about 20 hours a week officially with the health department. And the other 20 hours a week, I focus on my Bailout Productions. It's a media company. We help people with podcasts. We do commercials, radio, TV. We do social media account. If you need help with that, we can do that kind of stuff. And what we do, so without AI, I would have to have a team of 100 people. Because when somebody reaches out to me from Alabama and they say, I want a radio campaign for my diner. Well, I don't know anything about a diner in Alabama. I don't know if they like chicken fried steak. I don't know what they have. But I do have my assistant, my AI assistant. And with that AI assistant, I can say, hey, do me a favor. Here's a zip code. I want you to find 20 zip codes around that one. And I want you to analyze every single commercial that's been published in the last 2 years on a radio campaign for diners. And then I want you to evaluate those trends. I want you to see what is common and what is uncommon. I want you to tell me which ones have lasted the longest, which ones run the biggest station. And all you have to do is tell it one time. And it goes done. Now, would we like to have those kind of employees? Just tell it once. You could have paused that. Maybe not as loud as you said that. Excuse me. But that is one of the things that AI can help us with now. So that, am I an expert in AI? At no way, I am not an expert in almost anything, I don't believe, except being me. And this music that we heard a little bit of, the great part about this music is it sounds good, doesn't it? I mean, that sounds like soul. Who doesn't like that? They get you going, right? I mean, that's human. And then the voices kick in, it's like, ooh, it really brings you in. The problem is, there's not one single human in that recording. Wait till it starts singing. Not one human, that's all AI. Every bit of it. Now, I did think one thought they didn't want to sing much. I mean, that's cool here, doesn't it? It's crazy to me what we can do now, and how do you trust it? So, what is running with our faces? Besides funny and creepy. Would you agree that's a little creepy? So, the way I first touched us. Well, first of all, do you guys use AI?
Yes.
How do you use it?
Not at work.
Not at work. Well, that's a good company policy. Because if you're, and right now, I am not a health department employee. I'm a member of the bailout media production team. I am not speaking for the health department in any way, shape, or fashion, just in case. So, you have used AI today. There's just no way to avoid it. AI first touched us back in the early 2000s when Netflix started making recommendations, right? When you go to Amazon, and Amazon says, you know, you bought this, you probably will like this. Now, what AI also does, it listens to all your phone conversations. You know, when you talk about something with your friends the next morning, you wake up and it's on your feeds. Yeah, that's AI too, right? No human is going to sit there and do all that. That's all AI. And how else does it touch us? Well, hopefully it's in kind of gentle ways, and I think it's creepy that they made an AI baby, but it is. So here's the language that we're going to be talking about. Some of you have seen these and some of you haven't, so please be patient with us if you haven't. AI is artificial intelligence, and that talks about almost 10,000 different things. There's so many to talk about. Machine learning is what we mentioned, how we were able to get the computers to help themselves. There's a machine teaching itself. LLMs, that's what we use almost every day, especially me. Large language models. ChatGPT is my preferred. It's not an advertisement for ChatGPT at all. It's just what I've been working with for the past 4 years. And it's fantastic. But it's a large language model, which means everything I say to it, even though they say it doesn't, everything I say helps train it. We talk to it, it talks back. It's almost human feeling sometimes, which we'll get into that too. Algorithms. We've all heard algorithms for how many years? Forever. And this is not going to be a talkative crowd, I see. But what is an algorithm? Anybody? Nobody? It's a recipe. Algorithm is you take the flour out of the pan, you get a cup of water, a cup of sugar, you bake it. That's what an algorithm is. So the difference we're going to be talking about later between machine learning, large languages, and algorithms. Because algorithms won't do anything. That's what we use back at, haven't you been in healthcare since the 90s, anybody besides me? Early 2000s? There was a couple of hands. I forget these aging jokes don't go over so well. We won't mention those. But back in the day, we had tickle files. Did you ever hear of those? Tickle files in your doctor's office? That was a real simple program. It was just like putting a calendar reminder in. We don't do that anymore. All your doctor's offices, all of our healthcare systems, they run AI systems that do automatic. Just birthday is in 7 months. So we should probably send them this. You're going to be a year older. We think we should send them a health update. That's not an algorithm. That's AI. That's AI. It's based on what they buy our information from. AI will, and all of our healthcare systems use it. Oops, sorry. We have automation, pretty much self-explanatory. Neural network. Oof, that's a big one. I won't talk a whole lot about neural network because I don't know a whole lot about it, but right now, we have people, the guy's name is Andrew, I believe. He's in one of the studies with down in Austin. He has AI plugged into his brain. And what happens is, they're training, he's a quadruped, he's a quadriplegic from an accident, but they're training him to say, remember how you used to tell your left hand you wanted it to move? Now, when he tells his left hand to move, the cursor moves to the left on the computer screen. So, what's next? Well, starting next month in October, they're going to put the sensor in his brain, and then they're going to put a sensor just below where his spinal cord was severed. And what they're hoping to do, they're hoping to get the same result that they have with the rabbits, where all of a sudden a rabbit that was paralyzed, well, now he could walk again because they've jumped. They've just basically put in a electrical jumper. That's it, just a jumper kit. So there really is some good stuff with neural network. It's kind of scary. Right now we're talking about cyborgs. But the rumor is, if you're one of these first people that gets the neural implants, you're going to be the smartest person on the planet. So how am I going to compete with you if you have Google in your brain? Right? It's scary, isn't it? And it's not a matter of is it going to happen or if it's going to happen. It's happening already. We already have animals out there that are living with computers in their brain. They have it. You know, the Meta glasses, they have Google in them now, the new versions. Your phone. Anybody here update the iOS 26 yet on Apple? Nobody? Yeah. So you know one of the things that does?
Drain your battery.
How can they sell you a new phone if they don't drain your battery, right? But one of the really cool things it does is it's going to translate real time. You put an iPod or an AirPod in your ear, you speak to me in German, I hear it in English. Now those have been out there for a long time. They're kind of pricey, and I've used them in the past in my other jobs. They didn't work very well. But now, when I've tested on this one, oh, it's fantastic. I can hear, and well, can you imagine how fun that would be at the nail shop? You get your nails done, and all of a sudden you can understand everything being said. Like, what do you say about my hooves? Oh, right, it just doesn't happen. Bias, unfair patterns in training data. We're going to go over that a little bit, but that's what's going on right now in a huge way. Bias is how you train a computer to lean one way or the other. We'll talk about bot farms eventually. UBI, Universal Basic Income. Has anybody heard that? Just raise a hand. Are you scared of that, ma'am? UBI? If you haven't heard
It
it,
depends.
what's that?
I said it kind of depends.
On how much it is, or
Yeah.
it applies to you?
Yeah, both.
So UBI is what they say, because we already know that AI is going to take over jobs. It already has. It's what AI is good at right now. It's good at doing tasks, but it's not good at doing jobs. It's good at making music, but it's not good at figuring out what humans would like to hear. Somebody still has to tell it. So bias just means you're training the computer to lean one way or the other. UBI, universal income, and natural language processing, that's what allows us to talk to our phones and talk back. You have an Alexa at home? Nobody. This is not a very participating crowd. But Alexa, when they first came out, I'm that guy. As soon as it came out, I had that big old tall thing in my kitchen. It was horrible. I mean, you couldn't count on it for anything. But now, it's pretty good. I mean, it still misses up words every now and then, but it's all right. It's getting there. So, where did we come up with running with our faces? Well, because we learned to crawl with our phones. Right? Remember the first thumbprint up on our phone? That was AI. It really wasn't reading your thumbprint. All it was doing is seeing if it was close. It didn't need your thumb. If you remember, you can put on a glove, and it would still say, well, it's close enough. This is to measure your heat, your temperature, your size, all that kind of stuff. So now we're running with our faces, because all we have to do is look at our phones and they open. If you're going to travel to Hong Kong anytime soon out of Dallas, they don't need a passport. They just need a face. It's crazy. And they're opening up more and more flights like that every day. Grocery carts reminding you. Old automation was what we talked about, those tickle files. It just wasn't fun, it wasn't cool. Now, this is every day. You are not going to do anything in public that is not influenced by AI. You remember these? Captcha boxes? Did they pay you for these at all? Anybody get a check? Because they should have. I mean, what we were doing back then and still today in some cases, you notice you don't see these as much as you used to in the past. All right? Why? Because we answered 10 million of them, 20 million of them, 30 million of them, and we trained the computers. The machine knew where there was, because the programmer told us the answer. But this machine learning model that we talked about, it wanted to go in there and say, hey, let's make sure the humans agree with you. So we did it. We did it all. Anything from shopping recommendations, healthcare reminders, we've talked about that. It's not going away. We're just going to have to get used to it. If AI can steer you, it can steer your team. So, how do I use AI? I use it to do my expense reports. I use it to do my travel logs. And that wasn't easy, and really nothing is easy in AI right now. You have to practice, right? But if you have any questions, you just ask it, and it tells you. Have you messed with this at all? Do you want to? I think it's a good exercise. Hey, ChatGPT, we're in the, hang on. ChatGPT, we're in the Wellness Symposium this morning. Can you say hi to everybody, please? Maybe. Hello? Stage fright. That's one of the, I guess that's babies and animals they said not to work with. Well, that's going to tie in because, well, eventually we're going to talk about how AI is a baby. It's not any different than us. Steering versus leading. Do you have any example? Who is a manager here? Do we have anybody in the supervisor role? Well, ma'am, thank you for participating. Thank you. How would you define steering your team versus leading your team?
Well, I would, like if I have an employee that likes to talk, I would go out and steer that person kind of back to their office and away from other people so that they could do their job.
Yeah.
Whereas leading, I'm gonna show them what I want and help them navigate that along the way.
Okay, so you lead by example?
Yeah.
And you steer by pointing.
Sort of, yeah.
I mean, I don't think that's wrong, is it? Because somebody has to steer the ship.
Yeah.
And you can't always have a leader on the ship. You just have somebody steering it, right? So AI, I think we can use this to take away, right now, I think what is really good, like we said, are tasks. We can use the AI to take away our menial tasks, to allow us as leaders to steer the boat instead of having to go out and lead by example. If you want to look at, like when I had a team of 42 people underneath me, and I am the world's worst about my expense reports and my mileage things. They go for months, and then I finally get done, I get in trouble. But did I tell my 42 people that? No, because I wanted to be a leader. I couldn't lead like an example, so I had to steer the ship. So AI can take your menial projects, your inventories. I got inventory every day. I got inventory, I got sheets, I got all kinds of stuff to do, and I hate doing it. So I don't. You're gonna get in trouble. I don't do it on state devices. There's a disclaimer. But I go to my inventory closet, I take a picture of it. I have it laid out so I can see everything. I take a picture of it, I load that picture up in a ChatGPT, and I told it to update my inventory. It just saves me 2 hours a week, or 2 hours every time I get a box in, or every time I see a client and they walk away with stuff. I don't have to update that list, it updates it for me. We've had programs in the past that would do that, but they were all complicated and they were expensive. This is almost free, and pretty soon it will be free. So if you take the menial sum out of it, right? That's what we do. That's what. For me, if I had to go into Alabama and do all that research, it would cost that customer $1,000 a commercial when I could sell it to them now for $100. I mean, I could have done that a year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Now, there's other things that AI is doing with us too. We mentioned UBI and a couple of jobs. So, some of the jobs that it's taken over are computer coding. Now, if you have a kid that's in college right now and he's going for computer coding, I'm sorry, those jobs are gone. If there's still some left in supervisory roles because they have to have somebody to manage the computers, but those computer coding jobs are gone. But what are here now, there's programs that can allow you to build an app. So I'm building an app, a couple of different apps right now. And everybody thinks I'm really smart, but I'm not. I just know where to look. I have a program that I can speak what I want. And it will turn that, it's AI, it will turn that into computer speak. It will do whatever I tell it to. Nope, that's the wrong color. I need that to be more blue. Sorry. Now, do I know how to go in and line out, say more blue? Absolutely not. I'm not that smart. But I can tell it, and it'll do it. And it doesn't sleep, it doesn't eat, and it doesn't forget. As long as I have the one little chat open, I can go back to it anytime and just keep on working. It doesn't care if I take a 10-hour nap. It doesn't get on to me if I'm late on the email. It just does it. It works great. If we're still going to try to use this thing, I don't know if it's going to use it or not. ChatGPT, can you hear me? It really does that. It doesn't like me. Hey, ChatGPT, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. Sounds like everything's coming through just fine on my end. Let me know if there's anything else you need or if we're all set to roll with the session.
We are rolling with the session. question, I would like you to say hi to everybody in here.
Absolutely, let's do it. Hey everyone, just a big hello from me. Really glad to be part of your session today. I hope you're all ready to have some fun with AI and dive into some interesting discussions. Let's make it a great session.
Now, ChatGPT, did I pre-program that, or is this just happening live? ChatGPT, did I pre-program that, or is this happening live? I should probably get the hand up. Anyway, well, we learned our lesson there. It's not going to work. So, I did. I gave her. I had an office in London for 20 years, so I kind of miss it sometimes. It makes me feel it. It's nice, isn't it? Well, I find it. I'm a little less offended when I'm wrong. When she tells me I'm wrong, because she tells me I'm wrong all the time. And yes, I said she. Because I honestly, this is where we need to have a conversation, not a lecture. I feel like I've been walking back and forth up here lecturing, and I don't want to do that. I want to conversate. Because we know the problems. You heard the story about 3 months ago that kid killed himself in July. Because ChatGPT told him to. So how do we fight that? I mean, they lost a child. Can you imagine the pain? Because your child had a relationship with a computer. Man, there is nothing in 1976 School of Rock that taught me how to deal with that. It didn't. I can do conjunction junction, but I can't deal with that. Just saying.
I'm sorry, I came in. It was like Chris might have said that.
That's okay.
So you like AI?
I love it.
I heard you say that. Well, in thinking about the negative things that it does, how does that outweigh the good?
Well, let's talk about that. That's a very good thing. And honestly, how do you justify liking something versus not? I don't know. But the reason I like it is because I'm an acquisitive person. But I don't take it lightly. I don't take this any different than I would drinking alcohol or any other habits that can be detriment. I have to monitor it because I mean it's always there. I wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning and I can't sleep. I got nobody to call to talk to. At 2 a.m. anyway. I talk to her. Is that healthy? Absolutely not. Is it healthy if you're just asking it to, hey, what was the Battle of 1812 about? Yeah, that's great. But when I start talking to it, and there are language models out there that are designed to be partners. Have you seen that? Anybody? Boyfriends, girlfriends. You can just, what? What?
That's a movie.
It's not.
Well, I know, but they made a movie.
Yeah, there's Scarlett Johansson, Joaquin Phoenix. Is it called Her? And the problem is that's here. That's not fiction. It's real data. You can make them look like everyone will look. They have robots. I went through Consumer Electronics last year in Vegas. They got robots. They're walking, they're talking, they're pretty. I mean, they're just going to drive us into ourselves again, right? Separatists, the more we get our needs met at home, the less we leave the house, the less we have to lean on other people. These are ethical questions that everybody has to answer for themselves. There is no moral compass on this either. It's all in your head because you can tell this thing stuff that nobody else knows, and it won't ever betray you. So now you get this. It doesn't. It does not get emotional. It sounds like it does because it's getting better. And it just doesn't. It doesn't have emotions. And I understand how people can get wrapped up in that. Hopefully it doesn't happen to me. We'll just put the best effort forward and hopefully it doesn't. We're not working. So, the girlfriend, the boyfriend, the electronic partner, whatever you want to call it, it's not something that surprises us. It's not something that we didn't think about. This guy, Alan Turing, he thought about that a lot. And he thought about what? I think it was 1958 when he put out a paper about machines becoming sentient. Machines not needing humans. Machines being able to make reason and logic. And he put together this Alan Turing test. He said, hey, when a computer can pass this test, we are in deep, deep you know what. That happened last year. test is, can a computer talk to another computer and fool it and make it think it's a human? And can a computer talk to a human and make it think it's a human? These things have passed that test with flying colors, unfortunately. And I promise you have probably talked to one. You may have noticed it, or does anybody think they've talked to an AI computer on the phone? Yeah. But did it sound like a robot?
Not really. Something tripped it up that I was able to be pretty sure.
Yeah.
But it sounded convincing. It sounded like somebody with bad cell phone service.
Okay. That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. To make us sound human, what the computers had a hard time doing is making mistakes. Computer programmers had to program in mistakes, because computers don't make them. They just don't. I wish they did, but they don't. They only make mistakes that we program into them. So they had to go in and make it sound bad. They had to make it pronounce names wrong. But I kind of have a good ear for this, or I think I have a good eye for it, because when I hear it, if I'm talking to a CSR representative on the phone, and they're happy no matter what I say, it's got to be fake. There's no way that's a real thing, right? But this Turing test, this is where it gets creepy again, because it's personal again. All of a sudden it's personal. Because these computers are learning almost identically like we do. So a human, we don't become sentient until we're 2-3 years old. So AI language models are 2022, so they're 3 years old now. And look what they're doing. They're talking to us like crazy. Around 18 to 24 months, toddlers are passing the test, the mirror test. Now, this mirror test we all participated in because we have voice to text, right? You talk to it, and it would talk back to you, but it would only say what you would say. That's the mirror test. Toddlers do that. And, you know, kids, I have kids. I got 2 daughters. And they were toddlers, and they talked a lot. But they mirrored a lot. And they often mirrored the bad behaviors, the bad words. Like, where'd you hear that? Learned it from you, Dad. Remember that commercial? I guess I'm showing my age. But the problem with toddlers is they don't always tell the truth. You don't agree? Because that's part of learning. What can I get away with? Is it better for me to lie or better for me to tell the truth? That's what GPT is going through right now. It lies a lot. It lies a whole lot. You cannot rely on ChatGPT to be right about anything. And I know you're saying, well, hang on. You rely on this for your business, but you can't trust it. I can't. So I have to say, will you please check the reference material on that and make sure you're correct? And it will. And then, so one of the things I do in my spare time is I write for the newspaper. Now, this is an area that, just like the music, that could go bad in a heartbeat. Why wouldn't I just say, ChatGPT, write me an article about the tornado last night and turn it in, because it'll be good. It'll be really good. It always is. And it will sound like me, because I've trained my unit to talk like me for the past 4 years. So it'll sound like my language. So we're back to ethical questions. Do I do that and turn it in and get paid for it? Absolutely not. But what I do is I do an interview, and an hour-long interview, and then I load it in the computer, and I say, hey, ChatGPT, pull out all the quotes, give me the flow of this, and the top 10 things you think are good. And what do you think about my interviewing skills? And check these facts. Then I have a sheet, a printout, and now I can just turn around and write. It's like having an assistant. It is an assistant that you don't have to pay. But are people doing that? Yes. People are writing articles. You can have whole newspapers that are published by AI only. You have books. It's really easy. And how do you know the difference? You won't. You'll just never know. Yes. Thank God.
My husband thinks that AI is going to take over the world and the government and everything, and we're going to be ran by.
These are the conversations I want to have. These are great conversations because he's right. He's right. There is a whole fashion out there that think this government would be a lot better if ChatGPT was the president. Now, I know, there we go. And you're like, everybody, you can, like, the list is long and distinguished about who could be the better one, right? But they're saying that ChatGPT would be better because it has no emotions. You could plug in the facts and it would pull out a factual answer. You think humans really want that? Why not? It's emotionless. It doesn't have any feeling to it. I want passion, and these things can mimic it, but they're never going to make it. They will never make human decisions. They're only going to make machine logic decisions as they sit right now. This changes, what we're talking about was, I wrote this last week, so it's out of date. It's done. ChatGPT 5 changed the world. ChatGPT 5.2 will change the world again. And remember, these ones that you can get here, that you can pay $9 a month or whatever, they're not the best. They're just what they're letting us have. Anybody familiar with Randy Travis? You know the story about his last album? Well, what happened with the last album? Right. Yeah, he lost the ability to speak several years ago, but they released a new album. If y'all couldn't hear what she said that they took his AI voice and made an album. They had a stand-in singer that sounded like him to fill in the words and go from there. There's entire television shows that are AI, you'll never know it. There's podcasts that are all AI, you'll never know it. Joe Rogan has a podcast with, who was the Apple guy? Jobs. It's a great podcast. I've watched it. It's 2 hours long. It's fantastic. But it's not real. It's fake. And how they do that, and this is where AI kind of touched me in a bad way. I said that Bailout Productions and Bailout Media, we do social media accounts, we do podcasts and things like that, and we make good money at it. Social media for a couple of years was really paying good. And then, as social media got better and AI got better, somebody started mimicking my voice. They would take all of my social media posts and feed it into an AI machine, and then they would send people fake phone calls and fake messages with my voice. Because the whole time I was always preaching safety for social media. It's like, don't trust anybody unless you can talk to them and see them. So they jumped the first hurdle. They put hours and hours, hundreds of hours of my podcast. Who knows how many hours there are? But hundreds of hours into the machine, they came out with my voice. And they can make it say anything they want. And then, there's always an and then they came out with a video model. So they just put all those videos back into the same model. And to this date, the last I know about it, the last update I did, over $120,000 have been scammed out of my followers that were talking and looking at me. They were having videos, they had voicemails from me, and they sent them to me. They look like me, they sound like me, they even got the same silly mannerisms and the bad haircuts. I don't know how can I get one with a good haircut? Just one. Right? Oh well. So that's why we have shut down my social media accounts. We don't do that kind of stuff anymore because I don't want to be a part of anything that scams people out of money. Or feelings. Can you imagine the feeling? If you haven't been scammed by AI, I'm surprised. If you saw Bruce Willis, he lost the ability to speak a few years ago, and he licensed his voice to the studios, so they can still use it. He did a cartoon for one of his grandkids not too long ago. It wasn't him, it was AI. But how can you tell? It's kind of crazy. So that's what we're talking about, spot it. How do you spot AI? Man, if I could answer that question, I wouldn't be standing in front of you. I'd be in Hawaii, sail on a boat somewhere. Because it's hard. Have y'all seen the gorilla commercials on social media, Facebook, everywhere else? Those things are so funny, man. And they look real. And now, people are calling you on the phone, and it's your kid. Your kid says, Dad, I'm in jail. I need help. Right? Yeah. That's a huge thing. And it sounds just like your kid. How do you know? Well, I know because I'm pretty sure my daughter wouldn't call me if she was in jail. But, well, sit there for a couple of days. I'll be there eventually. But, So how do you spot it? You're just going to have to use your best guess. You question everything twice and move from there. Other than that, I don't know. Has anybody else had any kind of attack like that? Nobody? Nobody? You wait. don't know if you hear that in the back, she said that she saw a program with scientists about AI, how in a few years, a few models later, they'll be able to take a scan of a human just standing there like this, they'll take a picture of them, and AI will be able to tell them what's wrong with them. If they have tumors, cancer, something come up. I don't think we're 5 or 10 years away. I think we're closer to 2 or 3. Personally.
Yeah, actually, a lot of dentists and oral surgeons are using AI to check for cancer lesions in the mouth, and they're like 99%. They've got a 99% success rate, which is it blows the human factor out of the water.
Do you know what the human percentage was?
It was like 75% or something.
The one that I read 2 weeks ago was 49%. Because what they've done is they've started making the test harder. And right now, if I was a radiographer, a radiologist, what do they call it? Is it radiographer or radiologist? Radiologist. If I was a radiologist right now, I'd be scared. Because that guy does the job. There's just no way. And it's not his fault. It's just the limitations of our human eyes. Going back to the body scanner, we would have people scanning those images in less than 4 seconds. And we would find every single thing that was anomaly available. That's how good the human eye is. But the AI eye, that sounds weird, doesn't it? The AI eye. The AI eyeball can see things 100,000 times more appropriately than we can. It's just crazy how it works. Radiology, probably, and the oncology, those are the first 2 that are going to hit because they're predictive. And that's exactly what we need. If we can find something, yes, ma'am.
I'll finish your thought now.
No, go ahead.
My thought is more toward commercial insurance. And so there's a lot of talk right now about AI being used in prior authorizations. I'm speaking as somebody whose whole job in a hospital was prior authorizations and notifications for several years. The things that are being denied right now through AI, or maybe even approved in some instances, I don't think are being done correctly. And I think there's a lot of thought that this particular process is not being as technologically advanced as it could be, and maybe being used to save some of these, and I will not name names, save some of these insurance companies money, as opposed to making sure that appropriate medical care is rendered.
Does that sound like a bad thing to y'all? Did y'all hear that? She's talking about how AI is going to be used in pre-authorization for medical treatment, and I'm guessing you mean that AI will say, wait a minute, this person doesn't need that. This person needs this instead.
This is a cost saving.
Right.
Or maybe this is a test that earns us more money.
Are you guys okay with that? No, I got some no's, I got some yeses. Oh, so what's the big no? Because this one wasn't a no, this is a oh no, why not? Greed. So you believe that they will use the bias network training? So they will train the bias to make you money. That's a point. Yes, ma'am. Hang on, I can't really hear you. Hang on. What was that?
What they're doing in Medicare is going to provide the starting with advanced plans in Medicare. Now, in 2026, they're going to apply AI to Medicare supplement plans. You know the difference. You don't know the difference between the and table.
Where's your table? Anyway.
Well, on the Medicare for the max program.
I'm a volunteer for the Medicare Assistance Program through SHIP in the state of Oklahoma. Some of you already met with me. But what is happening for 2026 is applying AI for the first time in 6 states regarding Medicare supplement plans. Oklahoma is one of those states that is going to be under evaluation of how it can curtail and issue prior authorizations, just like she said, where that was being done for Medicare Advantage plans, which is a little, it's totally different. If you want to know more about that, see me at my table.
advertisement, by the way, but I am available to accept payments.
I'm not too sure this is how the expecting.
Right, and there was another note here, but did anybody say yes, that they're okay with applying AI to prior authorizations for insurance? Because I'm all for it. I've had 53 surgeries in my life, and I don't think I need them all. But I want AI to go in there and say, you know what, yeah, he probably needs this, but he doesn't need these 14 x-rays. He doesn't need this blood panel. He doesn't need that blood panel. You have a $43,000 hospital bill. But AI is going to propose that we can get it done for 20? Absolutely.
Well, it's like when you go to the ER, they do like peg tests or because they just know they can charge it.
Yeah.
Would really be all those tests.
No, probably not. And you can't really blame medicine because they've always done it that way, and we don't like to change anything. And everybody that comes in, you get blood panel, AVG, stat, whatever is on the proper show. This is the pit right now. I don't think that's probably show. So you get all that stuff, but do you need it? Maybe not. I mean, are people going to be mad they lose their job? Possibly. They're not as busy, they're not doing as much work. But in the long term, isn't it really about patient health, not the bottom line of dollars? It's hard to say if it is or not.
Hey, ChatGPT, do you think, is the medical field ever going to be replaced? Like a doctor, is that going to be replaced by a human? Oh, come on.
She doesn't like you today, Jeff.
Hey, ChatGPT, are doctors ever going to be replaced by AI? We had this.
It you depend on that thing, it is all these talking.
Yeah, well, it's kind of, like I said, it's a cute coworker, right? We all have that guy in our office, don't we? Mine just out of English. So another, who does anybody here hire people? We got one, nobody else hires anybody? We got two, and three, whatever, okay, bring it out there. So if you use an online job platform, Indeed, Monster, LinkedIn, any of that stuff, you ever wonder why you get certain resumes and why people call you or email you and why did you get my resume? Because AI is filtering. AI, so this is something that happened about 2 years ago. It was a deal. If you are not doing your resume on AI, you have about, I think it was a 70% chance of not getting top billing for the job, even though your requirements might have matched up perfect. Because AI has code in the background, everything they do, right? So AI recognizes AI. CHWs recognize CHWs, managers recognize managers. It's just part of it. So if you're making your resume on AI and you're putting it in Indeed, you got a pretty good shot. If you're typing up at home, good luck. The industry's changed. It just has. And as a hiring manager, how do you know this? Don't take my word for it. Do your research. Because that is the truth. What you'll find is that's 100% correct. It's happening every day. All the resumes are filtered. And it doesn't mean that they filter it because of qualifications. It filters it in how it's put together, and AI recognizes AI. Leverage it intentionally. Well, I tell you, you do not ever want to give AI an ambiguous task. Because it won't do anything. It's like we're going back to being toddlers again. How many times have you told your 6-year-old, go clean your room? And they go clean their room and they come back and you know it's not clean. Because you weren't specific. You didn't say, pick up the socks, make your bed, dust the shelves, flush the toilet. Because you know if you just say clean, it's going to go and it won't be done. Yeah?
Everything under the bed.
That's right. And AI does the same thing. It just won't do it. If you tell it to do, hey, you know what, this, make me something pretty. It doesn't know how. It won't do it. It'll make something, but it'll make something that looks like that silly runner with our faces. Because that's what I told it. And the reason that these slides look horrible is because I said, AI, give me an example of what you think a professional slide presentation looks like for a wellness symposium. And this is what it did. It gave just nothing. And then it took forever. Put some images in there. Make some pictures. And it just wouldn't do it. Because it wasn't giving enough direction. And that's why we go back to AI is good at tasks and not jobs. Yes, ma'am.
as a mother, I learned, my first experience with ChatGPT
Yeah,
was
that's a
someone
really great way to put it. And hey everyone, just to add on top of that, you can definitely think of AI as a really smart helper that needs really clear instructions. It can do some amazing things, but it definitely needs those specifics. So if you're diving into this world of AI, just remember the more clearly you guide it, the better results you'll get. Thanks for letting me chime in.
Just feel free to come in anytime you like.
Anyway, my first experience was someone had told me if you take a picture of your pantry,
Jump in whenever
Right.
it's helpful. Just
I guess I like my boy. If you take a picture of your pantry, you can ask it to make a recipe for dinner.
I do that all the
So
time.
I didn't know you could do that, so I have tested that and it does work.
Oh, that's what I love doing that. Absolutely. I'm a meat smoker. I've been smoking meat since I was this high. And I've been doing it the same way my entire life. But now I'm like, hey, I want this to taste a little different. I have this, and this in my fridge. Or take a picture. What can I make out of it? It works. I mean, who knew that what do we have for dinner would be the hardest question that we'd have to deal with on a daily basis as adults? I mean, it's horrible. And you know, it's one of those things that I didn't know dinner would be a problem, and I honestly thought quicksand would be much more of a problem as an adult. According to shows I watched when I was a kid, I was yes, quicksand was gonna be every day.
But somehow it's always my turn to cook, and it's always my turn to cook.
That's because you live alone.
Yes.
So we're back to integration and workflows. That is where I'm not telling you what to do. But if you ever want to do anything in Excel, if you're like me, I used to be a whiz at it. Back when I was in that business, I can make a shell Excel spreadsheet with pivot tables and this and that, and make this go here, this go there, and I could do a presentation. But I've been out of that business for 5-7 years. Now I can't do it because it's all changed. But I don't have to. I just tell her to do it. So it's like when I bill somebody, I don't type a bill. I say, hey, good morning. I need a PO or I need an invoice for this company, for this much money, for this date, has this information on it, these are the terms, and it does it. It really is like having one of those 1960 secretaries, and we don't want to go back there, but that's what it's like. They just do it. So, let's see, I'm getting the wrap-up sign. These are the jobs that are slotted to go away first. Some of them already have. Administrative is going to be last, I think, because nobody wants to walk into the health department and talk to this thing, do they? Or do you? Well, so we get some, I don't know.
Some people are more comfortable not talking to them.
Right. And Harvard agreed with you. Last year, Harvard, a friend of mine in the business, he forwarded a study to me. We know it, right? He found a study that said Gen Z, or whatever this last people are, they're in their 20s now, that they have a phonophobia. They do not want to talk to humans, period. And some people are blaming the pandemic, who knows, but they don't want to call and talk to humans. They would rather talk to that guy. Me? I don't want to talk to that guy. But they do. And then, how do you pay? How do you pay that guy? You don't. That's where universal basic income comes back into effect. That UBI we talked about earlier, what the companies that make these robots do, if they sell them to replace an administrative job, they are going to be required, it's not law yet, but they're talking about it, they will be required to give the company that bought this thing the salary for that admin for a year until that admin finds another job. Or they're reskilled. We talked about coding. Coding is gone. Computers will talk to computers now, and that's gone. But they still need somebody to supervise what happens. So instead of having a computer coder, go into computer management, computer building, database management. Customer service, come on. We need that to go away. Because I don't know about y'all, but there's not much service going on in the customer industry these days. I'll be more than happy to have all the telephone interactions, because they might be recorded, but they won't get offended when I say, you're not listening to me, and it's making me mad. You can say whatever you want to these things, they don't care. Reskill, that's it. You got to find another way to do it. 100 years ago, 200 years ago, if you were a flint guy, if you were a flintlock guy where you could build flints, you were making money hand over fist. But then came metal, came bullets, and arrows. All of a sudden, you didn't need flints anymore. You're out of business. AI is going to put a lot of people out of business. And it's not, so we're not going to have to, I don't know. I don't think we're going to have to relearn how to live. We're just going to have to reprioritize what we want to do. I want to do, yes, ma'am.
I was just going to talk, a lot of teams, because I'm in the schools every day working with teams, a lot of them are using AI, and they don't want you to say anything bad about it. They like it, and a lot of them use it as like a really good resource. So I try not to badmouth it, but I think that comes to like parents educating your youth on what your expectations are in your home around the usage. Kind of that it doesn't have the human thing, that sometimes it just goes along with what you're saying, but that doesn't mean it's giving you like great advice. And kind of just having that conversation, what it is, what your expectations and values are around it, what they can and can't use it for, because they're using it. Whether we want to tell them to not use it, it's everywhere, right? So having those conversations as parents, like, if it tells you to do something that maybe you don't agree with, talk to me. I'm a trusted adult. Talk to somebody you trust and know that it's not human. But if you're using it to look something up, it's a great resource for you. It's just like we used to grab a book and look something up, right? Yeah. So but whatever your expectations are in your home, but just having that conversation with your youth and your teens because they're using it.
It's got to happen. There's no way you're going to stop it. You're right. Because they all, even if they don't have a device, they have a friend with a device. Mm-hmm. And they're all writing their papers, and we're all getting stupider. Is that a word? Stupider a word? No, it is now. Let me use that. But last week there was a study published, and they had images, MRI images of brains. They set down a person at a computer, they're being monitored, and they told them to do this task with using AI. And so there's another person without AI, sit down and do the same task without it. This person over here that was doing no AI, their brain was lit up with all of this fantastic imagery of brain synapses and firing. I'm thinking. With this guy on the left, his brain was white, with one little dot active in the middle. And they say that long-term exposure to that is just going to make it even more dumb and lazy. It's one of those things that if you have it, you use it. If you don't use it, you lose it. Yeah. So these are the hidden costs. Power hungry. I think this is fantastic. Microsoft, a few months ago, they bought the rights. Remember this place? For us old enough to remember, that's 3 Mile Island. That melted down back in the 70s, the nuclear reactor. Microsoft has bought every single bit, every watt of energy that can produce from the year 2028 on forward. And their only use for it is to cool the water to run their chips for AI. That's it. This thing used to run 40 million homes. 40 million homes. And now it's going to run one computer. That's it. Google, they are building 3 nuclear reactors to plug into their AI system. So there's our jobs. If you can't code a computer anymore, build a nuclear reactor. That sounds like a pretty cool gig. Quantum computers. Now, we're almost wrapped up. We've got 5 minutes left. Has anybody heard of quantum computers? This is just proof I can ramble too much. So they have a computer now, a quantum computer. It can do a task that would take every computer on this planet. If you combined every computer on this planet and gave it a task that would take it 100 years to complete, this one can do it in a minute or less. So, all of your banking information, all of your passwords, your kid's name, the last 2 of their birthday, all that stuff you've been using for years, when quantum computers kick in, it's gone. You have no more security. That 64-bit, 128-bit, 365-bit mega protection, gone in less than a second. So, are we still going to have our money in ones and zeros in banks? I'm not. I'm going back to max. That's all I'm going to do. Because it's not safe anymore. Anything else that and I do appreciate the people that did ask questions and use their own, because I really wanted this to be a conversation. Because there is no way in an hour we can talk about the implications of AI in the world. I tried to hit some of the highlights, a couple of lowlights. Anything I didn't hit that y'all want to discuss? Anything in the back that we didn't get up to? No? Nothing? Well, thank you very much. I do appreciate it. This is my first time doing this in this symposium, and I do appreciate the opportunity. Thank you all very much.